Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. It was a night of terror in at least 2 communities as 10 persons were shot, 3 fatally, in 3 separate incidents. The first shooting happened in Green Island in Hanover, where 6 people were shot in what is being described as a domestic dispute. In that incident, 1 woman, identified as Rhonda Smith, also known as Susie, died. In the second shooting, also in Green Island, a woman and her son were shot when gunmen reportedly kicked in the door to their home and opened fire. The woman, 58-year-old Barbara Gilping, succumbed to her injuries while her son was taken to hospital. Now, the third shooting happened in Augustown, St. Andrew. TVJ News understands that around 8:30 p.m., 56-year-old Osborne Townsend and another man were at a bar when armed men allegedly approached them and opened gunfire, hitting them. Both men were taken to hospital where Mr. Townsend was pronounced dead. The other man was admitted in serious but stable condition. The St. Thomas Police has confirmed that Ramaria Dawes, who escaped custody while being transferred from the Yalas court to a holding area 1 week ago, has been recaptured. The 18-year-old was held during a police operation in Linstead St. Catherine last night. Dawes, who had made an appearance in the Yalas courthouse on Friday, April 6, was being transported to a holding area under police guard when he managed to break free from the officers and run out of the building. The cops say he ran down the lane beside the court before disappearing along the seacoast. Meanwhile, the head of the Trelawney Police Division, Superintendent Dwight Powell, is this afternoon appealing for 32-year-old O'Neill Demetrius, one of the escapees from the Falmouth lockup, to turn himself in. He's also appealing to anyone who may know his whereabouts to contact the Falmouth Police or the nearest police station or emergency 119 number. Despite calls for his resignation or firing following ongoing issues at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he will not be stepping down as minister. Dr. Tufton made the revelation on TVJ's Smile Jamaica this morning.
I take instructions from one person, the chairman of the cabinet, and up to this point, I have his confidence, and I will continue.
The opposition has been calling for Dr. Tufton to be sacked for his handling of the issues related to fumes at the hospital, which has caused nurses and doctors to be falling ill. There's a stern warning this afternoon from local government Minister Desmond McKenzie to municipal corporations as it relates to the construction of buildings island-wide. This was the impassioned plea to the corporations by the minister.
Municipal corporations should never take responsibility, accept any blame for any development that has not met the specification as handed down by your approval. Accept no such responsibility.
He also implored the corporations not to neglect due process when dealing with developers.
It is also critical that you don't shortchange the process. You don't bend over backwards to facilitate any development whatsoever because they want to expedite the approval process.
Meanwhile, over $10 million will be spent at the local government level in St. James over the coming months. Mr. McKenzie made the announcement at a meeting of the municipal corporation on Thursday.
Based on the request, some $6 million to the municipal corporation for the trucking of water to critical areas of the parish. We're going to be providing out of the property tax an additional $7 million to facilitate beautification across sections of the parish to ensure that the tourism sector is benefited from it.
The local government minister, however, pointed out that the area of poor relief and the upkeep of the nation's infirmaries should also be of vital importance to the municipal corporations. He voiced one concern of poor relief officers.
They have to use some big books So it make it difficult, and in a time like this, when a poor relief officer should be able, by just the touch of a button, find 2 or 3 people, instead of going through all pages of a book. Big book like them a prisoner.
Hence this announcement to the poor relief officers in St. James.
Each poor relief officer from the St. James Municipal Corporation will receive a tablet, and outside of the tablet you will receive a brand new computer and printer to enhance the work of the poor relief department.
Chairman of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, Michael Hughes, says he is still the mayor of Morant Bay despite a move by People's National Party PNP councillors yesterday to appoint Councillor Hubert Williams as mayor. Mr. Hughes described what transpired after the monthly meeting of the corporation was adjourned on Thursday as a meeting of the caucus of the PNP and nothing else. Yesterday's council meeting ended prematurely after Councillor for the Cedar Valley Division, Marsha Francis, asked for the suspension of the standing orders to accommodate what she said was an important issue. The request was initially honored. However, Mr. Hughes shortly after tried to have it discontinued when Ms. Francis brought up the matter of his elevation to the position of mayor. The meeting was adjourned after the 5 PNP councillors who constitute the majority in the council following last month's Supreme Court ruling demanded to be heard and refused to yield to the instructions of the chairman. Now, Mr. Hughes said the PNP councillors simply wanted to impose their will on the meeting. A by-election is to be held on April 27 to select a councillor for the Yallas division. The Jamaica Labour Party, Dean Jones, was deemed ineligible to sit in the corporation by the Supreme Court, resulting in the PNP having a 5-4 majority. And it's time now for our Fact or Fiction feature. Fact or fiction, Ronald Williams and Louise Bennett founded the National Dance Theatre Company in 1960. Find out the answer at the end of the sports segment of the newscast. We go on to news overseas. It was a day of tough questions for CIA Director Mike Pompeo as he was drilled by senators on a number of key issues ranging from North Korea to the Russian investigation. This as he has been pointed out as U.S. President Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of State. Details from the CNN.
CIA Director Mike Pompeo tried on Thursday to convince senators to make him the 70th U.S. Secretary of State, 4th in line to the presidency. He had some Republican fans.
Mike Pompeo has been candid, he has been helpful, and he has always been straightforward with us.
But he met challenging questions from skeptical Democrats. He talked about North Korean denuclearization.
Senator, I have never advocated for regime change.
Dodged a question of whether he'd pull out of the Iran nuclear deal and refused to share his conversations with President Trump about the Russia investigation.
I will tell you this, the article's suggestion that he asked me to do anything that was improper is false.
Pompeo confirmed he has been interviewed by Special Counsel Robert Mueller.
President Trump tweeted out that much of the bad blood with Russia is caused by the fake and corrupt Russia investigation. Do you agree with that?
The historic conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union and now Russia is caused by Russian bad behavior.
While Pompeo tried to paint a picture of himself as relatable and down-to-earth,
I love meatballs that I make with my dad's recipe.
Certain Democratic senators accused Pompeo of espousing anti-Muslim and anti-LGBT views.
So you do not believe it's appropriate for 2 gay people to marry?
Senator, I continue to hold that view.
Pompeo said he would fill vacancies in the State Department with the best talent, starting with the roles most urgently needed, like an ambassador to South Korea.
And we go down to sports. A 17-time champion trainer Wayne DaCosta will be having 5 contenders for the 1,000 and 2,000 Guineas to be run this Saturday and Sunday at Caymanas Park.
Last year, Wayne DaCosta made a clean sweep of the first 2 classics with She's a Man Eater, the Triple Crown winner, and a Fearless Samurai who landed the 2,000 Guineas. But this season, Da Costa has been struggling with his 3-year-old contenders, as they have been inconsistent in their campaign towards the classics. In Saturday's 1,000 Guineas, the wily trainer will be saddling 3 runners: last year's champion 2-year-old filly Brandy, Hotline Stakes winner Band of Gold, and Miss Formality. Band of Gold exercised alongside Drummer Boy on a Sunday morning and was beaten by 2 lengths after galloping 5.5 furlongs in 1 minute 10, while Brandy posted 107.1 over a similar distance, and Miss Formality did 107 4/5 also over 5.5 furlongs.
Fairly well. No, I mean, not outstanding. They haven't really lit the exercise track a light. So, but they've been working good enough to show a good run and come Guineas Day.
Of the 3, Da Costa appears to be leaning towards Miss Formality, the mount of 6-time champion jockey Omar Walker. The chestnut filly released her maiden certificate on March 10 and finished 7 lengths in 5th place behind Lisa's Pepsi on March 31.
She should have a decent chance. So, I mean, she's a little less experienced than the majority of the horses, but she's well bred and she's very talented.
Meanwhile, Da Costa will be saddling Without Exception and Drummer Boy in the 2,000 Guineas on Sunday. Without Exception is a full brother to Triple Crown winner She's a Man Eater, and after posting 1 minute and 2/5 in victory last Saturday over 5 furlongs round, Da Costa says it's a perfect workout for Sunday's Classic.
But it is 3 furlongs longer, so it's left to be seen if he can tackle a big gun sprinting and still have enough to stay on the extra 3 furlongs.
Drummer Boy had a poor performance in the Thornbird Stakes after finishing 9th, but 2 weeks later, the far-striding Bake Cold finished a fast second to Commander 2 over 7.5 furlongs.
Drummer Boy doesn't really have the class of the top horses, but he stays better than most. So with that, I give him an outside chance.
The winner of Saturday's 44th running of the 1,000 Guineas and Sunday's 2,000 Guineas will each stake a claim for a shot at the Triple Crown. Spencer Darlington, TVJ Sports.
And still in sports, we go to football, as Jamaica's Reggae Boyz have moved up 1 place in the latest edition of the FIFA World Ranking, as they reside at number 48 in the world. With this ranking, Jamaica remain at number 1 in the Caribbean Football Union and number 4 in CONCACAF. Mexico continues to lead the way in the region, as they are at number 15 in the world. The United States are second at 24. Costa Rica are third at 25. This is Jamaica's highest FIFA ranking since June of 2016, when they were at number 46. Jamaica played 1 international friendly in March, and that was a 1-1 draw with Antigua and Barbuda at Sabina Park. Now, at the end of this month, the Reggae Boyz will be off to the Leeward Islands, where they will play St. Kitts and Nevis and Antigua and Barbuda respectively. Defending World Cup champions Germany stay at number 1, followed by Brazil, Belgium, Portugal, Argentina, Switzerland, France, Spain, Chile, and Poland. And finally this afternoon, the answer to our fact or fiction feature. We asked, fact or fiction? Ronald Williams and Louise Bennett founded the National Dance Theatre Company in 1960. Well, that's fiction. The National Dance Theatre Company of Jamaica, NDTC, was founded in 1962 by Rex Nettleford, who was also known for his study of the Rastafari movement, and Eddie Thomas, who was once a member of the Martha Graham Dance Company in New York City. The NDTC draws on African Caribbean folk traditions and modern dance, such as the Martha Graham technique, for its themes and style of dancing. There is also a storytelling element, which is drawn from Jamaican folklore and rituals. The development and survival of NDTC is the story of a voluntary action group continuous operation in Jamaica for almost 50 years, making a strong impact on the nation's cultural life. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Please join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.